Hey everybody, it's PDB, and today I'm going to show you how to stencil your own t-shirts. The first thing you're going to want to do is pick out the image that you're going to make the stencil for your t-shirt. So for my t-shirt, I think I'm going to use the Broken Base logo and make a Broken Base t-shirt. First I'm going to go into Paint, then open up a file that I've already made, and I've used it in for the intro for my videos. It's right here. Now, the only problem with this is on the letters. See how there's these spaces of white where there'll be something blocking, there's supposed to be something blocking it? Well, they can't just be pieces of cardstock hovering in the air. So I'm going to get rid of these and then import some stencil text. Okay, so now I have stencil lettering. That means that there are white lines connecting the islands, as they call them, of white space. So to print this out, I'm just going to select and copy this entire image, go to Word Documents, go up under File, Page Setup, and put it in Landscape. This way we can make it as bigger than we could have if it was just in normal size. Now, because this is going to be too small for a t-shirt, I can make it larger just by dragging it across. See, now I have this great big symbol, and just print it. Remember, when you print out your stencils, try and, if you can get it, use cardstock. Cardstock is basically thicker than paper. And what this will do for you is, I tried it once with just regular paper, but the moment I touched the paint to it, it just curled up and ruined the stencil. I couldn't even use it once. The cardstock will just stay together better with the paint, and it'll make a reusable stencil, which is what you want. Okay, so now you've printed out your stencil on cardstock. The next step is to cut it out, so it's an actual stencil. Now, to cut it out, don't use scissors, that you'll never get anywhere. Use a crafting knife. Sometimes called X-Acto knives, you might think of them as. Mine, made in USA, it's a good one. No particular sizes are needed. I mean, I guess if you want to do really fine detail, do a smaller knife. But I just got a regular size X-Acto knife, and I can do most of what I want here. So I've got my stencil here, and I have my X-Acto knife. I'm going to start with the guitar, just to show you how to do it. These black edges, right on the line between the black and the white, is where I want it cut. Be careful with these again, they're very sharp. See how sharp that is? Alright, so, just try and keep everything straight. You'll find yourself you're going to be turning the paper a lot. And whenever you can, be coming just straight down. Come along the edges. When you come here, don't just jerk that way. You're either going to cut yourself or you're just going to screw up this stencil. Turn it again so it's another straight line. Also, for your images, try and choose things with as few curved lines as possible, because those are hardest to do. And just keep turning as you cut the stencil. Now here, for the broken part of the guitar, I don't know if you can see it, there. See how it sort of goes in and out really quickly, especially there? That's going to take a little bit more time, because you have to curve your hand in addition to the paper. So now I've gone all the way around this section of the guitar. So I can just poke out, and then make sure you pull off it from the back. This is the positive of the stencil. This is the negative. Now I just got to do here and all the letters. Just to make everything easier on everyone, I'm not going to cut this whole stencil out, because I already have a stencil that I've used in the past of the same thing. It's a slightly larger stencil. That probably will be helpful. As you can see, I've already just tried the spray paint thing, all of it. I've got the Broken Base Productions, the guitar here. The same exact thing that I was just cutting out before. This is what I had before. This is what I have now. It's larger. So, our next step is going to be actually painting the shirts. Something to remember. Don't put too much paint on your shirts. On one of my first attempts, I was using spray paint this time, but still, the lesson still applies. Don't overdo your paint. You'll end up with this huge splotches around the image. Like, you can barely read this. Even when you're actually here in person, you can barely read this. It's worthless now. I gotta use the t-shirt for something else, because I don't like wasting stuff. But the point is, don't use too much paint, because if you do, you're going to end up getting splotched images and all this nasty stuff, it'll get really frustrating because you'll have to do multiple tries just to get one t-shirt. So get it right the first time. So here's my towel wrapped cutting board, and I'm going to stuff this in between the two parts of the shirt, right in there. That way it doesn't bleed through from one side to the other. This is going to be really helpful and stop a lot of pains. As you can see, I've laid out the stencil on top of the shirt, which has the cutting board with the towel in between it. I've also put tape on the corners and along the edges to keep it where I want it, and I've centered it based on the collar. But it's not the end of the world if you get it a little askew, because you know there's all those design things where it's meant to look like homemade stencils where it's a little bit off and stuff, and it'll look cool like that. In terms of the paint you want to use, just get any latex or textile paint, anything you would use just regular paint on a shirt, and then I'm using a small white brush, even though I've already used it a little bit, so that's why it looks black. And I'm going to start with the top row, broken base. In terms of taking paint, dip it in and then wipe on the edges, because, again, like I said before, you don't want to put too much paint. Now, just start with the thing. Instead of just doing up and down strokes or side to side or whatever kind of strokes, you want to do stabbing motions, like you're sponging a wall. Okay, so like I said, you want to do rough stabbing motions. Just even one dip of paint should last you an entire leg. So now I'm all done painting my stencil t-shirts, and carefully pull these off. And that is going to be our final image. Okay, so the next step is going to be drying your t-shirts. I like to use a ironing board to lay them out on. Here is my t-shirt laid out so that the printed image is flat and there's no wrinkles around the printed image. You might get extra smudges that way, which you do not want. So you're going to leave it here for 15-20 minutes before you can hang it on a hanger, like I have a couple over there. Then, after about an hour or so on the hangers, you will be good to wear your fancy new t-shirts. So now you know how to make your own t-shirts. I hope you felt this video was helpful in your creative shirt making needs, and just make whatever you want, just have a good time with it. Hope you enjoy. This is PV signing out.